Hey guys, I just wanted to send you guys a video because I know that my email was a little overwhelming. There were, I think, like 3 or 4 or 5 different documents all nested together in that one email, and it's an overwhelming time in the world to be sifting through all of the resources and all of the communications and all of the things. So I also think that there's something to be said for being able to see a person's face and hear their tone of voice and see their new haircut. Just kidding. So I did want to I wanted to reach out to you from my heart, just from the authenticity of being with me. And I wanted to address where we are in the world. I wanted to address what JUSTembrace is seeking to do and become in this season. So I want to identify 2 specific terms that I use a lot in this video. I want to talk about the word anti-racist. The author Ibram Kendi has been very influential in my life for 2 of the books that I have already or will talk about. But he says that the opposite of racism is not racist. The opposite of racist is anti-racist. So how can we seek to uproot racism from our cultures and our worldviews, and it goes hand in hand with the concept of white supremacy, which a lot of people are used to only hearing in an extreme form, like with white supremacist groups of people who are organized around the values of white supremacy. But the reality is our entire country is organized around the values of white supremacy. White supremacy meaning that white people are superior, white people are superior, that whiteness is superior. So white supremacy, it is a very logical term, but we have just used it as this extreme thing when really it's the air we breathe. It's evident in our daily life. And for white people, we don't realize that it's evident in our daily lives because it is the thing that keeps us comfortable. It is the thing that makes things smooth for us. It is the thing that makes us safe. We don't even know that we're safe because we don't know what it is to not feel safe in our skin. So white supremacy and anti-racist, those are 2 terms. And the work of becoming an anti-racist is dismantling white supremacy in our hearts, in our DNA, really. And that is not something that's done quickly. It's not something that's done easily. It is not something that promises even good results. For some of us, this work will result in us needing to give up and sacrifice some of our privileges, some of the things that we have otherwise felt entitled to, or as if those things should naturally be ours. I think it's really important to make sure that our supporters and our community knows that we by no means think that we have gotten it right when it comes to identifying and uprooting white supremacy in the organization of JUSTembrace, in the leadership of JUSTembrace, and in our community dynamics. We are committed to that work, and we have begun that work, but we haven't done enough work. We have not focused with the kind of intentionality that is necessary, and so I say that to say, like, there's a continuum that will go forever. It will not end. There's no end that I know of, but there is work that we have done. There is work for us to do, and if you are just beginning to come aware, to come into these conversations, to be confronted with white supremacy in your life, to have within you a desire to posture yourself as an anti-racist in this world, to understand the role of white supremacy and oppression in the dynamics around you every day and within you. I want to offer JUSTembrace and myself as a resource to come alongside you in that, and to do work with you. So the first book that I want to recommend is Stamped from the Beginning. It is by Ibram Kendi, and this is a book I think that's wonderful for history lovers. It's a comprehensive look at the fabric of white supremacy in our world. The author begins in the beginning and weaves this intricate tapestry, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's everywhere and literally in the air we breathe. This book it's huge, but it is not a word of it is wasted. I listened to it on audiobook, which I highly recommend. I think all of these books on audiobook are preferred for me, because hearing in all of these cases, hearing the author reading their own words is very intimate and it's very powerful. The second book is also by the same author, and it's his follow-up book. It's much smaller, and it's called How to Be an Anti-Racist. And as I've already explained, he says that the opposite of racist isn't not racist, it's anti-racist. Kendi provided these chapters as an invaluable lexicon for the work against racist systems and ideas that are embedded in American culture and our psyche. His storytelling is smooth and compelling, and his historical grasp is astounding. He's brilliant. It is a practical gift of definitions, and it makes this book honestly one of the most important books I've ever read. And it breaks he presents his information as as a lexicon, as a dictionary, as he takes a white supremacist term and an anti-racist term, and he walks us through how this racist term and meaning is just embedded in our lives, and then gives us imagination for the anti-racist counterpart and how we can really rewire ourselves and retrain ourselves. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. The third book is called White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. She is a white woman and she writes for white people. Her book is a straightforward invitation for her audience to begin the real work of deconstructing white supremacy and racism by taking ruthless inventory of all aspects of our white experience. She writes again to a white audience, and she makes no apologies and systematically calls us out of every hole that we're prone to crawl into, and encourages us not to avoid the hard work of addressing our whiteness. DiAngelo does not ask us to be brave. She commands us to carry our part of a system that has allowed us to coast through life so comfortably that we have been unaware of its comprehensive support. Like, we don't even understand how our whiteness holds us up in this world. She defines white fragility as the sociology of dominance, an outcome of white people's socialization into white supremacy as and a means to protect, maintain, and reproduce white supremacy. Highly recommend this book. And then the fourth book is a book I actually have not read, but I just started to listen to. I've listened to a very little bit of it, and it's called Me and White Supremacy. And I just, again, listened to the intro, and I think that this book is going to be such a helpful tool. It is one of the New York Times bestsellers right now. All of these books are right now. But it is a 28-day challenge for people to do the work piece by piece of identifying, uprooting white supremacy in our hearts and our lives. And it is every day she tackles a different aspect of white supremacy, and then she gives you questions that that you then are to reflect on and journal about. And this book, I recommend this book, but I do not recommend it to anybody who's not willing to also get a journal and a pen and spend the time to do the work of reflecting and really being honest with ourselves in the written word of identifying these things as we see them and as she coaches us through this process. So these are the 4 books, and I would be delighted. I would be delighted to process them with you. Maybe you've already been reading them, but if you have not and you'd like to pick one up with me, I'm in it. So I have all of the books that I referenced earlier. I have all of those books on audiobook, and am looking forward to diving into those with anybody who's interested in doing that. So there's a survey. It's attached to the email with this video. If you want to do that work, and you want some support and you want some guidance and you want a safe place to have some conversations that are tough, I extend that to you. I invite I invite you into that. I would love to journey with you. And so fill out that survey, pick the book that appeals to you the most right now, and the time of day that would be good for you for a video call with people. And I would love to just organize whomever of you would be interested in doing this work. I'd love to organize us into small groups to read and process and confess and repent. Hey, Miss Ollie. I'm okay. How are you? Yes. So I invite you to join me in this, you guys. I love you, and I am so thankful that we have this ongoing relationship, and I really would love for us to do this work together. Yeah. So check out the survey and get back to me and let me know if you'd like this summer to journey with me. I love you all. This is my closing. There's so much more to say in the email. If you go back to it, there is a link to a June update that just kind of highlights the things that we continue to do here at the house. Also, there's another link to an explanation of the fact that I am no longer an employee at Starbucks. The company is downsizing, and I accepted a severance package that will free me up to focus here, to focus on JUSTembrace right now, and to focus on getting us prepared for whatever is next for us next year when our lease is up and we are just seeking to discern what is the next chapter of our lives, what is the next chapter of our organization and our community. It's very likely not going to be in this house. So that is a huge transition that we need to just really create space to let the Lord guide us through. And it's hard to do that while also hoping to not die during a pandemic because I work at a restaurant that is unsafe. So that's just a little bit of what's going on there. You guys feel free to reach out to me, please. I would love to talk with any of you about any of these things. Yeah, love you.